Shall we start then?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in the previous class, up till where we discussed, I hope eubacteria we discussed. Arachidobacteria and eubacteria. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right. So what is the major difference between Arachidobacteria and eubacteria? What is the main difference between these two bacteria?
So can I tell?
Yeah, same.
Sir, Arachidobacteria can live in extreme places, and whereas eubacteria cannot live in extreme places. They are true bacteria, whereas Arachidobacteria are not true bacteria.
Very good. Right. That is the correct answer. So now we were discussing about the eubacteria. So I have said you that eubacteria is the true bacteria. And it is more advanced when compared to that of our Arachidobacteria. So reproduction, up till reproduction of eubacteria, we discussed different methods of reproduction. Now, in this eubacteria, most distinctive eubacteria is cyanobacteria. Okay. So most distinctive eubacteria is most distinctive means what? Most famous is cyanobacteria. Okay. This cyanobacteria is also called as blue green algae. Remember the word cyanobacteria is also called cyanobacteria will have chlorophyll A. So chlorophyll A is present in all higher plants. Chlorophyll A is present in all higher plants. So what is the function of chlorophyll A? So you know very well that chlorophyll helps in photosynthesis. In the same way, our cyanobacteria which have the chlorophyll A, it will perform the photosynthesis. Okay. So it is having the capacity to perform the photosynthesis. Now, it forms blooms in polluted water. Okay, this is also one characteristic feature of our cyanobacteria is that it is forming blooms. Wait for 1 minute, some disturbance. My voice is clearly audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what I was saying that this eubacteria will have the chlorophyll A. So this chlorophyll A is present in higher plants. So with the help of the chlorophyll A, eubacteria will perform photosynthesis. It is autotrophic in nature. Second feature of this eubacteria is that it will form blooms in polluted water. So if you go to rivers or ponds, you can see some bubbles of water in the ponds or lakes. So that are nothing but blooms. So when you see a water, if it is having budbuda, okay, पानी के बुदबुदे होते हैं, that are known as what blooms. So if you see blooms in the water means it is a polluted water. So our eubacteria, that is to say most popular eubacteria, cyanobacteria, this cyanobacteria is also called as blue-green algae. Okay, why it is called blue-green algae means sometimes it will be appearing bluish in color, sometimes it will appear greenish in color. It has chlorophyll A. Due to the chlorophyll A, it is appearing green in color. It also has some other pigments which imparts or which gives its blue color. So that's the reason it is called as blue-green algae. It is photosynthetic. Why it is photosynthetic? Because it is having chlorophyll A. Higher plants also have chlorophyll A. Okay, so lower plants do not see. Chlorophyll A is only the chlorophyll which can convert solar energy to chemical energy. That is an important. So chlorophyll is of many types, A, B, C, D, like that way. But chlorophyll A is only the chlorophyll which can convert solar energy to chemical energy. So eubacteria have the chlorophyll. So it is having chlorophyll means it can perform photosynthesis. So it is forming blooms in the polluted water. Now, when you see this cyanobacteria is unicellular. You know very well, it is unicellular organism, right? Colonical, it always lives in colonies. Colonical means it is not living singly, it lives in groups. So we are saying colonical. It is filamentous. It is like a thread. Okay, filamentous. This is also an important feature. So cyanobacteria is unicellular, colonical, filamentous, marine. So it prefers to live in marine water, or sometimes it may live on land also. So we are saying terrestrial. Okay. So most distinctive eubacteria or most popular eubacteria is cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria is also called as blue-green algae. It is having chlorophyll A, so that it can do photosynthesis. It forms blooms in polluted water. It is unicellular, always lives in groups. So we are saying colonical. It is filamentous, like thread. It is marine, used in oceanic waters. Some cyanobacteria may live on the land also. So we are saying terrestrial algae. Now, another important feature of this eubacteria, that is to say cyanobacteria, is that, so we are saying that they are colonical in nature. It means they are living in the colonies. The colonies of this cyanobacteria is surrounded by a sheet. Colonies of this cyanobacteria is surrounded by gelatinous sheet, which gives them protection. Okay, so that is also an important point. So when you take this eubacteria, that is to say cyanobacteria, suppose let us think these are the cyanobacteria. These are the cyanobacteria. For example, they are in colonies. So colonies of the cyanobacteria are surrounded by a sheet, gelatinous sheet. Okay. So colonies of this cyanobacteria is surrounded by gelatinous sheet. So this gelatinous sheet will give protection to the cyanobacteria. Okay. That is a very, very important point, that colonies of cyanobacteria are surrounded by gelatinous sheet. Colonies of BGA, I am writing BGA, are surrounded by gelatinous sheet. Okay. Now, some cyanobacteria have some special cells. Okay. Some BGA can fix atmospheric nitrogen. In a specialized cells. Called heterocyst. Example, Nostoc and Anabina. Okay. What I am saying is that some cyanobacteria have some special cells. In these special cells, they fix nitrogen. So what is nitrogen fixation? That is, you have to know first. So now some organisms cannot take atmospheric nitrogen directly. Okay. So some organisms can't take atmospheric nitrogen directly. So the nitrogen is taken in the form of nitrite or nitrate ions. are in the form of ammonia. So conversion of nitrogen to ammonia or nitrite or nitrate, we say it as nitrogen fixation. So some cyanobacteria will fix atmospheric nitrogen in a specialized cells, which we are saying them as what? Heterocyst. Example of the cyanobacteria which fix atmospheric nitrogen are Anabaena and Nostac. Now once you see this diagram, see, these are the specialized cells, heterocyst. In this heterocyst, nitrogen fixation will occur. Now, if you see, these are all the cyanobacteria which are in a group colony, and the colonies of cyanobacteria are surrounded by mucilaginous, that is to say, gelatinous sheet. Okay, this gelatinous sheet or mucilaginous sheet will give protection to the cyanobacteria. Okay, so nitrogen fixing cells of cyanobacteria are called heterocysts. Remember the word nitrogen fixing cells of cyanobacteria. We are saying them as what? Heterocysts. This point is clear to you? Okay. Right. Now, these are the features of the cyanobacteria which are mentioned, but we have some additional points also in our what you can say in our module. So that additional 2 points also I will say to you. Now, this cyanobacteria have some reserve food. So human beings, our reserve food is glycogen. Plants' reserve food is starch. So in the same way, the reserve food of this cyanobacteria is cyanophyacin starch. So this cyanobacteria reserve food is reserve food. Okay, they store some food. Okay, so the reserve food of this cyanobacteria is cyanophyacin starch. This is the reserve food material. Remember the name. Cyanophyacin starch. This is the reserve food of this cyanobacteria. This is an additional point just for your information. Okay. So they store that food. So we store glycogen. Plants will store starch. So different animals have different reserve food in their body. So our cyanobacteria will store cyanophyacin starch. Now this cyanobacteria have one property. Cyanobacteria change their color. Change their color according to intensity of light. This is one special property they are showing. The cyanobacteria will be changing their color according to the intensity of the light. So if light is more intense, their color will be bright. If light is less intense, they will appear pale in color. So like that way, the cyanobacteria have a capacity or an ability to change their color according to the light or according to the intensity of the light. So this is known as, this phenomenon or this process, we are saying it as complementary chromatic adaptation. Complementary chromatic adaptation. Okay. So what is complementary chromatic adaptation? Cyanobacteria will change their color according to the light, according to the intensity of the light. This process or this phenomenon, we are saying it as complementary chromatic adaptation. So this was first of all discovered by a scientist, Genjuko. Okay. So Genjuko was a scientist who discovered it. Genjuko. So this is a scientist name. So he was the scientist who has discovered chromatic adaptation. So sometimes this complementary chromatic adaptation is also called Genjuko phenomenon. Okay. So what is Genjuko phenomenon? Cyanobacteria will change their color according to the intensity of the light. Right? So this was discovered by Genjuko scientist. So it is called Genjuko phenomenon. It is also called complementary chromatic adaptation. Right? An example of the cyanobacteria showing this phenomenon. So all cyanobacteria will not show this Genjuko phenomenon. Few cyanobacteria will show Genjuko phenomenon. Right? Only few cyanobacteria will show this complementary chromatic adaptation. Example of one cyanobacteria is Trichodesmium. Trichodesmium. So Trichodesmium is a cyanobacteria which will show this complementary chromatic adaptation. Right? So cyanobacteria will store cyanophyacin starch as their reserve food, and some cyanobacteria change their color according to intensity of light. This process, this phenomenon, we are saying complementary chromatic adaptation. Example, Trichodesmium. Clear to you? Okay. Now let's once again discuss about eubacteria. So we discussed in the eubacteria that eubacteria is a true bacteria. This is the first point. Eubacteria are modern bacteria, right? This eubacteria may be autotrophic, they may be heterotrophic. Eubacteria reproduces asexually and sexually. Sexual reproduction in eubacteria is primitive type of DNA transfer. It occurs by three methods: conjugation, transformation, transduction. These are the three methods. The most popular, most famous, most distinctive eubacteria is cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria is also called blue-green algae. Cyanobacteria have chlorophyll A, so it will do photosynthesis, right? Again, we discussed that this cyanobacteria will form blooms in polluted water. Cyanobacteria is colonical, filamentous, and colonies are surrounded by mucilaginous or gelatinous sheet. Some cyanobacteria can fix nitrogen in a specialized cells known as heterocyst and avinolostat. Cyanobacteria store cyanophyacin starch as the reserve food. Some cyanobacteria change their color according to intensity of the light. We say it as complementary chromatic adaptation. This was discovered by Genjuko scientists, so sometimes it is also called Genjuko phenomenon. An example of the cyanobacteria showing this phenomenon is Trichodesmium. Right? Clear? Points are clear to you? Once you respond, please.
Clear, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, this is our Monera. This bacteria, again two types, Arachidobacteria Eubacteria. In this Eubacteria, most popular Cyanobacteria. Arachibacteria, 3 categories based upon the place where they live. M, pH, methanogens, thermoacidophils, holophytes. Right? So this is the most exclusive Monera. Monera means bacteria. Apart from this, Monera also includes Mycoplasma. Monera also includes what? Mycoplasma. It also includes Rickettsia. It also includes actinomycetes. Right, remember. So Monera kingdom is exclusively bacteria, but it also includes some confused bacteria, Mycoplasma, Rickettsia, actinomycetes. So in our NCERT and in our curriculum, till Mycoplasma is given. Rickettsia, actinomycetes is not given, and the questions related to Rickettsia and actinomycetes will not come in our NEET examination. But total Monera is what? Bacteria, Mycoplasma, Rickettsia, actinomycetes. It's our information. So up till where we have to discuss bacteria, Arachi, U, MTH, Cyanobacteria, and Mycoplasma. Now, when we discuss Mycoplasma, our Monera kingdom will be completed. Okay. Did you heard the name Mycoplasma anytime? Mycoplasma.
Yes, sir.
What is Mycoplasma? What are
The
your ideas?
Mycoplasma is the smallest cell.
Smallest living cell that can live without oxygen.
Mycoplasma is the smallest cell. Good.
That can live without oxygen.
Huh. Again, anything?
It does not have cell wall like other bacteria.
Right. Now, let us see what is Mycoplasma. Now, when you see this Mycoplasma, so smallest cells, Mycoplasma is the smallest cell. They do not have cell wall. I'm writing they lack cell wall. Bacteria have the cell wall, but Mycoplasma do not have cell wall. They can survive without oxygen. They can survive without oxygen. Okay, they can live without oxygen also. Some bacteria can live without oxygen, some bacteria cannot live without oxygen. That is the thing. So this Mycoplasma were discovered by 2 scientists, Nocard and Roux. Nocard and Roux. These were the 2 scientists who have discovered this Mycoplasma, Nocard and Roux. Okay. Now, they were discovered in pleural fluid. They were discovered in the pleural fluid of cattle having pneumonia. They were discovered in the pleural fluid of the cattle having a pneumonia, which is bovine pneumonia. Now, what is pleural fluid? You know very well. When you take the lungs, suppose these are the lungs. Lungs are surrounded by 2 layers, outer layer and inner layer. In between the outer and inner layers of the lungs, there is a fluid which is known as what? Pleural fluid. So pleural fluid will protect the lungs from mechanical injuries. Okay. So lungs are surrounded by 2 layers. In between these 2 layers, there is a fluid which is known as what? Pleural fluid. So Nocard and Roux discovered Mycoplasma in the pleural fluid of the cattle suffering with pneumonia disease. Pneumonia is the disease which affects the lungs. You know very well, pneumonia. Okay. Now they were discovered in pleural fluid of cattle having bovine pneumonia and they were called what? myco PPLO and were called pneumonia like organisms. They were initially called as what? Pneumonia like organisms, PPLO. Okay. So as they were discovered in the pleural fluid of the cattle, they were named as pneumonia like organisms. They are also called as mycoplasma like organisms. Different names are given to them. They are sometimes called as mycoplasma like organisms, or they are called simply mycoplasma. They can also be called as pneumonia like organisms. Okay. Now this mycoplasma are pathogenic. They will cause different diseases in plants and animals. Okay, I am writing that point also. Mycoplasma are pathogenic. Pathogenic means what? Disease causing. So they cause different types of diseases in plants and animals. Okay, so mycoplasma were discovered by Noppard Rauch. They are the smallest cells. They do not have the cell wall. They can live without oxygen. First of all, they were discovered in the pleural fluid of the cattle having or suffering from bovine pneumonia, and they were called PPLO. They are also called MLO, mycoplasma like organism. So you say mycoplasma, mycoplasma, PPLO, mycoplasma like organism, both are same. Okay, the main thing of mycoplasma is that it is considered as the smallest cell, or we can also say that it is the smallest bacteria. Ostrich egg is the biggest cell, and this mycoplasma is the smallest cell. Okay, you take the note.
Sir,
Okay. Now let us move to the next kingdom, kingdom Protista.
sir, sir.
Say.
So what is pleural fluid?
Little loudly you say. I am unable to hear clearly.
What is that pleural fluid?
Pleural fluid. See, when you take the lungs, lungs are covered by two membranes, outer membrane, inner membrane. In between outer membrane and inner membrane of the lungs, there is one fluid which is called as pleural fluid. Okay, so this pleural fluid will protect the lungs from mechanical injuries. So in this pleural fluid of the cattle, this mycoplasma were first of all identified or first of all discovered. That cattle was suffering with bovine pneumonia disease. Okay, understood now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now next kingdom is Protista. This is our Monera, unicellular eukaryotes we completed. So next one is Monera, Protista. Now what is Protista means? Protista is the kingdom of unicellular eukaryotes. So Protista is a kingdom of unicellular eukaryotes, right? So all the unicellular eukaryotes are included in this Protista, and protistans are primarily aquatic. So these protistans are primarily aquatic in nature. So they live in water. It may be fresh water, it may be marine water, that is a different thing. but they live in the water. Primary nature. Okay. Now, this Protista are having 4 classes. Chrysophates. One is Chrysophyta. Second is Dinoflagellates. Third is Euglenoids. And last is Protozoans. So in these 4 classes, our kingdom Protista is divided. So kingdom Protista is having Chrysophyta, Chrysophytes, Dinoflagellates, Euglenoids, and Protozoans. So what is Protista? Unicellular eukaryotes are protistans. What is Monera? Unicellular prokaryotes. So that is only the difference here. Okay. So protistans are also unicellular. Monerans are also unicellular. दोनों unicellular ही है. But Protista और Monera में बस इतना ही फर्क है कि मोनेरन जो है प्रोकैरियोटिक के हैं और प्रोटिस्टेंस जो हैं यूकैरियोटिक है. और जितने भी प्रोटिस्टेंस हैं उनमें ज्यादातर प्रोटिस्टेंस एक्वाटिक होते हैं, मतलब दे लिव इन वाटर. Some live in fresh water, some live in marine water, some live in stagnant water. But 99% of protistans are aquatic in nature. In this Protista, we have 4 categories. One is Chrysophytes, second is Dinoflagellates, third is Euglenoids, and last one is Protozoans. These Protozoans were initially included in the animal kingdom. So हमने animal kingdom Porifera से startup किया. बट पहले 10 साल पहले प्रोटोजोआ से स्टार्टअप होता था एनिमल किंगडम. मतलब पहले प्रोटोजोअन्स को एनिमल किंगडम में डाल दिया गया था. बट आफ्टर द विटेकर स्पाई किंगडम क्लासिफिकेशन, प्रोटोजोअन्स आर इंक्लूडेड इन अवर प्रोटिस्टा. प्रोटिस्टन सिंपली मीन यूनिसेलुलर यूकैरियोटिक. ओके. आउट ऑफ दिस 4 प्रोटिस्टन्स, Chrysophytes and Dinoflagellates and Euglenoids, they have plant features. Chrysophytes, Dinoflagellates, and Euglenoids, they have more plant-like features. That is the reason they are called plant-like protistans. But when you take protozoans, they have animal-like features. So these protozoans are sometimes called animal-like protistans. Okay, so protistans may be plant-like, protistans may be animal-like, but they are not animals and they are not plants. Okay, so they have some features of plants. Chrysophytes will have some features of plants. Dinoflagellates, Euglenoids, ये तीनों में कुछ प्लांट जैसे फीचर्स होते हैं, इसीलिए इन्हें कहा जाता है प्लांट जैसे प्रोटिस्टन्स. प्रोटोजोवन में एनिमल फीचर्स है तो इसीलिए उसको कहा जाता है एनिमल लाइक प्रोटिस्टन, राइट. बट एनिमल के जितने भी प्रॉपर्टीज होने चाहिए वो प्रोटोजोआ फुलफिल नहीं करता है, इसीलिए वो ठोस या पक्का वो एनिमल नहीं है. हम बोलते हैं कि एनिमल जैसा प्रोटिस्टन है बट वो एनिमल नहीं है. ओके. तो ये 4 कैटेगरीज है. तो हम अभी फर्स्ट कैटेगरी से स्टार्ट करेंगे, क्रिसोफाइटा. एक्चुअली ये क्रिसोफाइटा क्या होता है? ओके, राइट.
वो स्लाइम माउल्स भी तो है.
हाँ बेटा,
वो स्लाइम माउल्स भी तो क्लास है ना
व्हाट यू आर सेइंग?
सर टेक्स्ट बुक में स्लाइम माउल्स करके भी एक क्लास देके है.
राइट राइट. स्लाइम मोल्ड्स इज आल्सो देयर. आई हैव फॉरगॉटन. या, वेरी गुड. स्लाइम मोल्ड्स, दिस 5 आर देयर. बराबर. ओके. नाउ फर्स्ट we will discuss our Chrysophyta, then Dinoflagellates, then Euglenoids, then slime mold, then protozoans. By that our Protista will be completed. Okay. Now first we will move for our Chrysophyta. Now one thing you understood, now what is the major difference between Protista and our Monera? This point is very clear to you. What is Protistan and what is Moneran? Can you differentiate?
Yes, sir.
Yes sir.
So how you can differentiate Protistan and Moneran?
Monera are prokaryotic, whereas Protista are eukaryotic.
What is the similarity in Monera and Protista?
Both are unicellular.
Both are unicellular. Okay, that is the fundamental similarity. Prokaryotic and eukaryotic, that is the fundamental dissimilarity between Protistans and Monerans. Right. Now, always remember, zoa means animal, phyta means plant. Okay, metaphyta means plant. Metazoa means animal. Okay, so animal names generally end with zoa. Plant names generally end with phyta. Phyta means plant. Okay, that is also thing which you have to know. Now let us begin with chrysophyte or chrysophyta, chrysophytes. Now chrysophytes. Now what is chrysophyte? Generally, this chrysophytes or chrysophyta includes two organisms, diatoms and desmids. Okay, so chrysophyta will include popularly two organisms. One is diatom, another one is desmids. Desmids will appear golden in color, so they are sometimes called golden algae. Why they are called golden algae? Because they appear golden in color. They live inside the water and they will be sparkling like the gold. They will be shining like the gold. So they are called as what? Golden algae. Now, where they are found? Found in fresh and marine water. Found in fresh or marine water. So our chrysophytes are found sometimes in fresh water, sometimes in marine water. Okay, they are microscopic. You need a microscope to see them. They are microscopic and float passively. With water currents. Okay, so now inside the water they are living small diatoms, and these all are living. And how they are moving? As the water moves, they are also moving. So that is the reason I have wrote that point that they are microscopic. You need a microscope to see them, and they float on the water along with the water currents. So जैसे water move होते रहता है, in that direction only our protistans will moving. Okay. Now in this chrysophyta, diatoms are the chrysophytes which are most popular, which are most exclusively studied. Okay. So chrysophyta में बहुत सारे organisms हैं, but उस बहुत सारे organisms में diatoms बहुत famous है. डायाटम्स की ही हम स्टडी करते हैं जब हम क्रिसोफाइट्स की स्टडी करना चाहते हैं. जिस प्रकार से हमने साइनोबैक्टीरिया का स्टडी किया था यू बैक्टीरिया को समझने के लिए, उसी प्रकार से क्रिसोफाइट्स में डायाटम्स आर द मोस्ट पॉपुलर, मोस्ट अबुडेंट, मोस्ट फेमस, मोस्ट डिस्टिंक्टिव. So that is the reason we study more about the diatom. So generally two organisms are there in this chrysophyta. One is diatom, one is desmid. Desmids are the organisms which are golden in color. So they are called golden algae. They are called as what? Golden algae. Now when you see this diatom, you know very well diatoms are microscopic in nature. You need a microscope to see the diatoms. Okay. Now the speciality of these diatoms is that the diatoms cell walls, the speciality is that if you take the cell walls of any animals, generally they are made up of cellulose. But the cell wall of these diatoms is made up of silicon, which is a special feature. Okay. Cell wall of majority of the organisms is made up of cellulose, which is a carbohydrate. But the cell wall of our diatoms is made up of silicons. This is the special feature. सिलिकॉन का बना हुआ सेल वॉल सिर्फ और सिर्फ डायटम्स में होता है. दूसरे कोई लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म में सिलिकॉन का सेल वॉल नहीं होता. ये इनकी स्पेशलिटी है. ओके. सो आई एम राइटिंग दैट पॉइंट. सेल वॉल इज मेड अप ऑफ सिलिकॉन. Now, diatoms. In diatoms,
Sir, only diatoms have silicon cell wall.
What, beta?
Only diatoms have silicon cell wall.
Yeah. So generally, when you take all the organisms, these diatoms are only the organisms which are having the cell wall which is made up of silicon. But other organisms, if you take algae, if you take some plants, they are made up of, they have the cell wall which is made up of carbohydrate, that is to say cellulose. Okay. So in diatoms, cell walls are made up of silicon. So the cell wall of the diatom, you are saying that it is made up of silicon. And how the cell wall will be there? Cell wall forms thin, cell wall forms thin overlapping shells. Which fit together like soap box. It means that the cell wall of the diatoms is, if you see a soap box, you might have seen the soap box. Just 1 minute, I will show you. You see this? This is the cell wall of the diatoms. It is having two shells, thin overlapping shells. This is the first shell, this is another shell. They are fitting like this way. And this is the entire cell wall. Inside this cell wall, our unicellular diatom is enclosed like this. Understanding the point here? No? So that is the reason I am writing the point here. Cell wall forms thin overlapping shells which fit together like a soap box. So this is the shell number 1. This is the shell number 2. This is like this way, and our diatom is enclosed in this. If you see the molluscans, shank, you have seen the shank. When you go to river area,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
so inside the shank, the organism is present. वो शंख के अंदर क्या रहता है? मोलस्कन ऑर्गेनिज्म रहता है. In the same way, the diatom's cell wall is like a soap box which is made up of silicon, and inside this cell wall, the cell of the organism is present. Okay. Now, as the cell wall is made up of silicon, these are very strong. Understanding the point? Cell walls are very, very strong, indestructible, we can say. Silicon is a very tough material, so it is not so easy to break the material. Okay. Apart from this, so this is the cell wall. The nature of the cell wall, we are saying that the cell wall is made up of silicon. सेल वॉल सिलिकॉन से बनने के वजह से सेल वॉल बहुत मजबूत होता है, उसको हम इजीली डिस्ट्रॉय नहीं कर सकते. अगर सेल वॉल सेलुलोज से बना हुआ है तो उसको इजीली हम ब्रेक कर सकते हैं, बट सिलिकॉन का सेल वॉल जो है बहुत टफ होता है, बहुत स्ट्रांग होता है. ओके. अनदर इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग ऑफ दिस डायटम्स इज दैट नाउ विल शो यू वन पिक्चर फॉर योर क्लैरिटी. वंस वेट. द बॉडी इज covered by shell made of silicon. इसका बॉडी भी इट इज आल्सो कवर्ड विद वन शेल, मतलब सेल वॉल है और साथ साथ शेल भी है, एक्स्ट्रा प्रोटेक्शन. ओके. अंडरस्टैंडिंग द पॉइंट हियर?
Yes, sir.
The walls are indestructible. तो सिलिकॉन से बनने के वजह से इनके जो शेल है, इनका जो सेल वॉल है बहुत स्ट्रांग होता है, इनडिस्ट्रक्टेबल, मतलब उसको हम इजीली डिस्ट्रॉय नहीं कर सकते हैं. ओके. नाउ लेट अस थिंक दैट दिस इज आवर ओशन, दिस इज आवर डायटम, all these are the diatoms. So these diatoms will fall on the shore, they will die, right? So all the diatoms are fall on the shore and they will die. Now you know very well, if an organism dies, if the organism dies after some years, entire organism will be mixed in the soil. Entire organism will be mixed in the soil. Now if you examine this soil, after some thousands of years, this soil will be rich in dash.
Rich in silicon.
Think of it. So we are saying that our diatoms are covered by cell wall. They are having the shell which is made up of silicon. Diatoms have, due to the water current, they fall on the shore. They die, they decompose, and they mix with the soil. Now, if you analyze that soil, if you test that soil, which element will be more in that soil?
Silicon.
Silicon. Why silicon will be more?
Because diatom shells are made up of silicon and when they
Very
die,
good.
the
Very
organisms
good.
die.
So as our diatoms cell wall is made up of silicon, that silicon will be mixed up with that soil, and that soil is called diatomaceous earth. What we say that soil? That soil is called diatomaceous earth, and this diatomaceous earth is rich in silicon. Okay, that point I am writing now. Diatoms leave their cell wall deposits. Diatoms will leave their cell wall deposits in their habitat. In their habitat means what? The place where they live. This accumulation over billions of years is called, this accumulation over billions of years is called diatomaceous earth. Okay, it's called as what? Diatomaceous earth. So all the silicon will be deposited in this soil, and you know very well that this diatomaceous earth is very rich in silicon. Now let me show you diatomaceous earth diagrams for your information. Now you see this. This is the cell wall deposits. So all the diatoms will live like this way, the cell wall deposits. This is the shell of the diatoms. They are embedded in a shell which look very beautiful. So after some millions of years, that area will become rich in silicon. That rich silicon rich area only we are saying it as what? Diatomaceous earth. Okay. Okay. So like that way, diatoms shell will be there. So diatoms will die, all the shells will be decomposing, and that area, that soil will becoming rich in the silicon. Okay. Right. Now we have some benefits of this diatomaceous earth also. Okay. Now this soil, the soil of this diatomaceous earth will be gritty in nature. Means like it is having small pebbles. Okay. Being gritty. Okay. This soil is used for, so the soil we are using it for polishing. We also use this soil for filtration, polishing. We are also using this soil for filtration of oils and syrups. Oils and syrups. Okay. And this was the most important point. Diatoms are chief producers of C. What are producers? Producers are nothing but producers are the organisms which make the food. Consumers are the organisms which will consume the food made by the producers. Generally, plants are producers, we are consumers. Okay. So diatoms are the chief producers of the sea. So inside the ocean, most inside the ocean or inside the sea, photosynthesis is done mostly by diatoms. So we say them as chief producers of the sea. So this was asked in NEET 2018. Identify the chief producers of sea. Diatoms are the chief producers of the sea because they are able to do photosynthesis. Okay, diatoms can do photosynthesis, right? So this is the story of diatoms. So chrysophytes includes diatoms and golden algae, that is to say desmids. Diatoms are most popular. Diatoms have the cell wall made up of silicon. They also have the shell which is made up of silicon. Cell wall is very strong and indestructible. Diatoms leave their cell wall deposits, or diatoms will fall on the oceanic shore. They will die, decay, and decompose. And that area which is rich in silicon, that area we are saying diatomaceous earth. Diatomaceous earth, the soil of the diatomaceous earth is used for polishing, filtration of oils and syrups. And we are finally saying diatoms are the chief producers of the sea. Very, very unique quantities. Okay. This is the Chrysophyta. Only two organisms included, diatoms and desmids. The two diatoms are most exclusively studied. Okay. Can you see diatoms with naked eye?
No, sir.
No. Why? Because they are
Microscopic.
Yeah. So diatoms are microscopic. That is only the reason we cannot see them with our naked eyes. We need a microscope to see them. Right? Now the next organisms in Protista are dinoflagellates. Dinoflagellates. So now dinoflagellates, the name itself is indicating that they have the flagella. Flagella helps these organisms to move from one place to another place. Okay. So dinoflagellates are motile organisms. They have the flagella. With the help of the flagella, they are moving. But when you take the diatoms, they move along with the water currents. They do not have special locomotory organs. But our dinoflagellates are having the flagella. So can you say the major difference between flagella and cilia? Flagella and cilia.
Flagella is long and help in moving. They are thread-like structures and cilia are hair-like structures. They are short
Right.
and it does not help in moving.
Correct. Right. So next is what? Dinoflagellates. Most important, dinoflagellates. So when you see their color, they are golden brown in color. They are golden brown. Photosynthetic. They can do photosynthesis. And mostly marine. They are mostly marine. Okay. Now, if you take dinoflagellates, they have chlorophyll A to do the photosynthesis. They also have some other pigments. Okay. Apart from chlorophyll pigment, they also have some other pigments. So, due to the presence of other pigments, they appear in different colors. Okay. They appear yellow. Some dinoflagellates will appear yellow in color. Some appear in green color. Some appear in brown color. Some appear in red color. They appear in different colors depending upon the pigment present in the cell. If the dinoflagellate is having blue pigment, it is appearing blue in color. If it is having yellow pigment, it appears yellow in color. Okay. So based upon the pigment, our dinoflagellates will appear in different colors. Now the dinoflagellates are also have cell wall, and this cell wall is made up of cellulose. See here, cell wall of the dinoflagellates is made up of cellulose. It means cell wall उतना strong नहीं है जितना diatoms का है. Diatoms का cell wall बहुत strong है क्योंकि diatoms का cell wall सिलिकॉन से है और इसका cell wall जो है किससे बना हुआ है? इसका cell wall जो है सेलुलोज से बना हुआ है. नाउ बहुत सारे dinoflagellates में दो फ्लैजेल्लास होते हैं. बहुत सारे dinoflagellates में कितने फ्लैजेल्लास होते हैं? फॉर एग्जांपल दिस इज dinoflagellate, इसमें दो फ्लैजेल्लास है. एक है लॉन्गिट्यूडनल फ्लैजेल्ला और दूसरा है ट्रांसवर्स फ्लैजेल्ला. ओके, तो इनमें दो फ्लैजेल्ला होने के वजह से जनरली इनका नाम दिया गया dinoflagellates. डीनो दो फ्लैजेल्ला. ओके, सो dinoflagellates में जनरली दो फ्लैजेल्लास होते हैं. एक लॉन्गिट्यूडनल है और दूसरा ट्रांसवर्स फ्लैजेल्ला है. With the help of this flagella only, okay, dinoflagellates will exhibit a peculiar movement, a different type of movement because of the presence of these flagellas. Okay, so they will be generally spinning in the water. You see goal spinning. You have seen whirlpool. पानी में क्या बोलते हैं उसको? whirlpool आता देखो, गोल. You have seen sometime, anytime? Inside the water, when you see sometimes round will come, no, which is called whirlpool. You are getting what I am saying? Please respond to me. You are able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Right. So did you see any time in the water whirlpool?
Yes, sir. Video, sir.
So yeah, so our dinoflagellates will be spinning or will be moving like the whirlpool only because of the presence of longitudinal and transverse flagella. Okay. So they have two flagella. One longitudinal and another transverse. Okay, so they are having like that with two flagellas are there, longitudinal flagella and transverse flagella. Okay, due to which they show peculiar spinning movement. As they show peculiar spinning movement, goal like that where they move, we say them as whirling whips. Okay, whirling whips. And another important thing is that there are red dinoflagellates. So that they have different colors based upon the pigment. Out of all the dinoflagellates, red dinoflagellates have one interesting feature. What this red dinoflagellates will do means, suppose this is a red dinoflagellate, it will undergo multiplication. Multiplication means what? Division. It will undergo multiplication and it will form many red dinoflagellates. Right? So red dinoflagellates will undergo multiplication and it will form many dinoflagellates. And this area, this is a watery area. Everything is water. They are in water. Red dinoflagellate has undergone multiplication and formed many dinoflagellates. And this area, if you see from here, it appears red in color. Understanding the point? That area will appear in which color? It appears red in color. And this is called as red tide. This is called as what? Red tide. So now, what is red tide? The red dinoflagellates undergo rapid multiplication and make the surrounding water appear red in color. This is called red tide. And in this red tide area, these dinoflagellates, as they are multiplying, they will release toxins also. What is toxin? Toxin is a harmful chemical. And the aquatic animals present in this area, they will die because of this toxin. Aquatic animals which are present in this area, they will die because of the consumption of this toxin. So if you see National Geographic Channel, you can see in the oceans and seas appearing reddish in color. That is nothing but red tide. What is red tide? Red dinoflagellate जो है अपने आप को रैपिडली मल्टीप्लाई करते हैं और आजू बाजू का जो सराउंडिंग वाटर एरिया होता है उसको रेड कलर में कन्वर्ट करते हैं. इसे ही कहा जाता है रेड टाइड. ओके, नाउ यू सी वन रेड टाइड डायग्राम. Now you understood?
Yes, sir.
हाँ, तो ये क्या है? दिस इज नथिंग बट व्हाइट इज अपियरिंग रेड. ये रेड जहां मतलब रेड जो एरिया दिख रहा है वहां पे रेड डिनोफ्लैगेलेट जो है हद से ज्यादा मल्टीप्लाई होते हैं. हद से ज्यादा मल्टीप्लाई होने की वजह से वो एरिया पूरा रेड कलर में दिखता है और रेड कलर का जो एरिया है वो खतरा वाला एरिया है. वहां पे टॉक्सिन्स का रिलीज होता है. समटाइम्स ह्यूमन बींग्स में आल्सो डाई. This is red tide. You might have seen in your National Geographic channel like this way or in any films. Okay. Right. This is the red tide. I hope red tide is clear to you. Okay. So रेड टाइड को बहुत से रेड कलर वाले डिनोफ्लैगेलेट शो करते हैं. उसमें से सबसे फेमस Canvalex. So Canvalex is a red dinoflagellate which is most prominently making the red tides. Canvalex, remember the name. It was asked in NEET examination also. Okay, the protistance exhibiting red tide is Canvalex. Okay. Now, Sexiatoxins are produced by it. So Ganwelix जब red type को so our Ganwelix will produce sexiatoxin when it is undergoing rapid. Clear? ये पॉइंट क्लियर है बेटा?
सर एक बार वापस एक्सप्लेन करो।
रेड टाइड का पॉइंट क्लियर है? व्हाट हैपेंड, नेटवर्क इशू है क्या?
सर वो गैनियोलेक्स का वापस एक बार पॉइंट रिपीट करो ना।
स्टूडेंट, एनी नेटवर्क इशू यू आर हैविंग?
सर
ईश्वरी, आनंद,
सर
एनी
Yes, sir.
नेटवर्क?
No, sir.
कोई रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं कर रहे आज क्यों? संडे
No, sir.
समझ में नहीं आ रहा है क्या?
समझ में आ रहा है सर।
अच्छा, तेजस, okay. So now you remember one example. Ganwelix is the dinoflagellate which is showing the red tide. और Ganwelix एक टॉक्सिन को भी रिलीज करता है जिसका नाम है सेक्सियाटॉक्सिन. ये सेक्सियाटॉक्सिन कैन किल aquatic animals also. और कुछ dinoflagellate जो हैं बायोलुमिनेसेंस होते हैं, मतलब the organism can emit light. If an organism emit lights, it is known as bioluminescent organism. So Ganwelix और Noctiluca ये दो प्रोटिस्टेंस ऐसे हैं जो लाइट को भी एमिट करते हैं. ओके, इसीलिए आई रोड देयर बायोलुमिनेसेंस. ओके, so this is the story of the chrysophates. No, sorry, dinoflagellates. So now you ask me if you have any confusion here. Jahnavi, any confusion?
No, sir.
Okay. Darshana?
No, sir.
Meet?
नो सर।
So no confusion. Savani?